common. And that thing was they all surrendered their lives to something. And that something was love. And that's what I want to talk about today. That power of love. Which then brought the light of divinity into their very form and transformed them back into light. So what all of these people had done who really had the power to transform back into their rainbow bodies was they had really set their intention on the power of love and really living their lives through love. And they had so many stories of the things that they had done in their lives. So we're seeing that that is really a key ingredient in transformation. And remember, God is light. And Yeshua said, I am the light of the world. And then he said, you are the light of the world. And we are here to transform back into light beings. So what those people, those rainbow bodies really showed us is that we have the power to transform back into light. Jesus took the disciples and said, you're not going to die until you, three of you won't die until you see the kingdom. He said, come on up on this high mountain with me. And a high mountain means higher consciousness. It's allegories in the Bible. And he said, there he turned back into light. And so what they were seeing, what is really the kingdom, is our true identity within us, that spark of light. You know, the Bible says this, there's a light that lighteth every man that cometh into the world, because we're light. And in the uterus, when a sperm hits an egg, there's a combustion. All of us came out of light. So that light really is lighting the world. So we're here to transform back into light. And I want to read a quote from Albert Einstein. He wrote a letter to a Hebrew university in the 30s, and he ordered it not to be published till 2 decades after his death. So I'm going to read a little bit about what it says. It says, there is an extremely powerful force that so far science has not found a formal explanation to. It is a force that includes and governs all others, and is even behind any phenomena operating in the invisible, and has not yet been identified by us. And he went on to say, he said, that universal force is love. Love is light that enlightens those that give it and receive it. So he said that greatest force that science at that time hadn't totally understood is that force of love. That force explains everything, and it gives meaning to everything in life. And here's how, this is still from the letter, here's how I can give a visibility to love. He said, if instead of my equation, E equals MC2, we accept the energy to heal the world can be obtained through love, multiplied by the speed of light squared, we arrive at the conclusion that love is the most powerful force there is, because it has no limitations.
Wow.
So what we saw with those rainbow bodies is really love has no limitations. It has the very potential of transforming this dense physical form back into light. So I want to just get into it a little bit. So he was telling us that the most powerful, healing, limitless force in the whole universe is love. And the key ingredient, it's the key ingredient back to transformation into light, to our true beingness, because we all came out of light. You know, in the beginning, God said, let there be light. And what it was that frequency that really all of us were in that. So that's our true beingness. So I asked a question today. What if we've been using the word surrender wrong? You know, as we look at the scriptures and we see the list of what we call the fruits of the Spirit. How many of you remember the Bible? They have the fruits of the Spirit. They read them at weddings all the time. Love, joy, peace, gentleness, kindness, temperance, all those things. But what it says at the end of that, is that they have all those things. But the greatest of those is love. And it goes on to say in 1 Corinthians, he says, we can speak with tongues of angels. I can be a great speaker. I can have all wisdom. I can channel. I can understand all mysteries, have all knowledge, and know all things. But I can feed the poor. We can do all of those things. But if we don't walk in love, it says you're like a trembling cymbal. It doesn't mean a thing. You're not helping yourself. You're not raising your energy. And you're not changing the world. So we can do all of these outside things and look like we're really, doing something. But the thing is, if we're not doing them with that heart of love, it doesn't profit us or the world. So on our spiritual journey, the most important thing here is to surrender to love. Did you ever think about that? And not as we have thought of the word surrender, because what we think about surrender is giving up control, don't we? You know, I let go and let go and let God, just giving up control, which is really denial. Real surrender is not about giving up control at all, but surrender has everything to do with love, and how often you, me, allow love to act on our behalf, to act through us and flow through us, whether life is going our way or not. You know, it's so easy to love when everything's going your way, isn't it? I mean, we can just be in a happy mood and love and all of that. But how about when things aren't going your way? Can we surrender to love even then and just allow love to act on our behalf? See, love really is a verb. Love is really something that's active in our life. It's part of us. It's who you are. It's who I am. If God is light, and Einstein says light is love, then there's really no difference. So really, we are love. That's really our potential. That's who we are. That's that spark within us. So often we allow love to act on our behalf. And whether life is going our way, can you allow it to act for you and bring that light of divinity through you to activate and nourish every part of your body? Obviously, the energy of love has a great power because it turned those guys back into light. So it does nourish and energize our body in some way. There's a high energy in love that turns up the frequency within our body and begins this transmutation, this transformation within our body. So we're looking at a time of really turning back into light. You know, it said a moment in the twinkling of an eye, the last trump, corruption puts on incorruption, mortality, immortality. How does that happen? You know, David Wilcox is talking about this event. Love is the key, and all the spiritual teachers out there. David Icke, I've said, you know, in the beginning, David Icke was too much of a conspiracy theory for me. You know, it's always, you know, majoring on the negative and what was going on with the cabal. But as I watched David Icke go, he now says the only reality is love. Love. That's the only reality on planet Earth. So it can bring that light of divinity through you and nourish every part of your being. How do you feel when you're in love? Remember how you felt when you were a kid and you fell in love? You know, everything was all just roses and you couldn't think about anything but how you felt inside. And when you were with your boyfriend or whatever, you just had this thrilled feeling. Well, that is really what's helping us activate this vibration. Sometimes we can do it we can hold on to it in a short time, but we get bored and we get frustrated, we get lonely, we get confused and fearful. But in those times, we're here to say, I am here in this moment, no matter how I feel, no matter how frustrated, how lonely, how desperate, whatever is happening in my life. The purpose of my life is to surrender to love. You know, I intend to allow love to flow through me to bring the light of divinity into this form and transform my very being. You know, we go places to lose weight, we drink all these drinks to get healthy, we do all of these things, you know. But what if there was a key to help us transform in ascension, in ascend? And what if that ingredient was love? And we allowed it to flow through us at all times, even when we didn't feel like it. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Because we know, we've been talking about, what do you heal in yourself, Taylor, heals in the whole world. You know, we want to go out and heal the world, don't we? Oh, it's so good to go out and do all these things. But the biggest healing is what you heal in yourself. And once you heal it in yourself, it goes out from you and begins to heal the world. That's where healing really, really begins. So I want to respond to what you say. So what healing with me is healing the world. So I want to respond to what people say about me. Or can I allow love to respond? You know, how many of you had people talk bad about you sometimes? Not me, ever. Probably never. Never. But how do you want to respond? You know, you want to go, I know how Pam used to want to respond. But now she doesn't. Now she doesn't. But she used to be a little, I had to hold my hand on her head, but it was better. She's getting much better now. But anyway, you know, but what if we respond in love? And love to speak in love. And love can really listen to people. This is another thing I was thinking about. I've talked about listening for many years that I've been practicing listening. Not listening just the way I used to listen, but listening from the heart, listening from love. So when you really listen to people, or are you just waiting for them to take a breath? Take a breath so you can jump in and with your opinion, your judgments, and turn all the conversation back to you. How many times you've been talking, you're sharing something really important in your life, and you can hear the person go, because they're just waiting for you to take a breath. Just waiting for you to take that breath so they can get their opinion and their judgment in and then turn it all back to what they want to talk about. Well, that's really ego listening. That's ego listening. That's not love listening. So can we really listen from a heart of love and allow love to listen? When we listen from love, we listen from the deepest core of our being. I've said, sometimes you just can drop into your heart. And instead of listening from up here, begin to listen from the heart. Be present. Look in somebody's eyes. Hear what they're saying. Instead of just in the back of your mind making what you're going to say next. How many, the reel is rolling back there. You can't wait for them to just go, so you can get right in there and give your opinion. And the person talking feels it, and they feel heard and validated when you do that. Even when we say nothing back. Even when you have nothing to say back, and sometimes that's the best thing to say back, is just to be present with a person and listen from the heart. That it's a heart-to-heart conversation instead of always trying to get in there and give your opinion. They feel validated. Even if you say nothing. Or we listen from the ego, which is always half listening and just waiting for a place to jump in, like I said. How you ever been sharing something, and I said, and you can feel those people waiting, which is ego listening. And I can remember years ago when we were in the other place and I was just starting to get into listening, the door would open, and I'd be listening to say to Patty, and then I'd be looking at the door, listening to Patty. And I remember once somebody said to me, "What are you so interested in back there?" And it brings you back home that, they want to be heard. Every single one of us wants to be heard. Every single one of us wants to be validated. And listening is really about love. So I've had people, like I said, that ego, where you can just hear their thoughts saying, okay, I hear you. Get finished with what you say. It's my turn. But love listens heart to heart. And it hears what the other heart's desire is expressing. Ego just gets information. So sometimes just kind of judge. What are you doing? Are you listening from the heart and really getting that heart information, that not heart information, but that hearing from that heart? Or are you just getting the information of what people are saying to you? Love, when love does the listening, when we allow love to do the listening, we're able to be in full presence and see and hear the other person as the divine being and allow them to share their spiritual journey. And as we listen from love, knowing we are in divine training, and listening is one of the things that we're really learning to do. We're all in divine training, and listening is part of love. We hear, which rises our vibration too. We allow whatever the other person says to be the most important thing we've ever heard in that moment. How can we listen like that? To really be present and look in somebody's eyes and to listen and to realize what they're saying. They're sharing their heart with you and make them feel it's the most important piece of information to you in that moment than anything else in the world. That's love. You see, we're really learning to shift these things around. The most important thing that you've ever heard. I mean, I've had people listen to me like that, where I know that they're not trying to jump in, but you can just feel that. You feel validated. You feel like they have listened to your heart, and it changes, it shifts, it transforms. Not only the person that's doing the listening, but the person that's doing the talking. It's a communal transformation. As you listen, it transforms you because you're in that flow of love. And as you validate them, it transforms them because they're feeling validated. It's so powerful. And even if our egos doesn't agree with them, we allow love to flow through us, to use us, to listen in order to transform us, transform them. But guess what else is being transformed when we learn these things? The whole world. We're sending a vibration out to the whole world when we listen like that. So surrender is all about surrendering to love. So love, the greatest force in the universe, is what Einstein called it, can work through us in an invisible force that heals every aspect of our being. How many of us want to be totally whole and healed? Love. Love. Love is the healing balm. Love is the thing, if you let it to flow. What if we never had a negative thought? And all through the day we had this love just flowing through us. How could we be sick? How could we be sick if we had a vibration of love flowing through us all the time? You know, love is that healing balm. And it shifts the very vibration of our planet to a heart-centered consciousness that can heal every problem, every person on our planet, and every disease on our planet. It's the answer. Love. Love can shift the perception of separation, lack, loneliness, disease, fear. It can herald in a new paradigm. And I don't know about you, but I've had a lot of stuff coming up lately. And I've been looking for answers. What is the thing that shifts these things? I know bringing them to the light helps. But then when I begin to love myself, that's the first thing I'm learning. Love myself, even in the midst of what maybe doesn't look perfect, it begins to heal me. And that we're learning that love is really that healer. So the only thing we ever have to surrender to is the love that's already in us, because it's really already in us. We came out of love. We were created by love, for love, through love, to love. I mean, love is everything. And also open to the love that others want to give us. And that's another thing. Sometimes we want to be the lovers, and sometimes it's hard for us to open to the love of others. You know what I've learned in this center? I need the love of other people. I don't know, when Nathan comes in on Tuesday, he gives me the tightest hug, and I mean, it does everything. Everybody in here hugs on Tuesday, and Roger, we all hug, and it's just like a love fest. And what I've learned is I need that love too, because it's that love flowing in. Not only do I want love to flow out from me, but I want to be renourished with that love. It fills us back up. How many times a week do you say, I love you to somebody? How many times a day do you say, I love you to somebody? We say it in here all the time. I mean, the minute he comes in, and Christy comes in, we say, I love you. I mean, we do. And that is where we're really going. And also, it opens the love others are wanting to give you. So just being able to receive love, to feel it, to honor it, as the truth of who you are. In your present form, the truth of who they are. When I receive love from Nathan, not only do I feel loved and validated as love, but I see him as love. And he gets more beautiful to me every time he comes in. I can't wait for him to come in, because all I see is love coming through the door. It's just amazing, and it's amazing the vibration that it creates in here during the week. Just absolutely amazing. So let's close our eyes right now for just a moment. Just close your eyes, put your feet on the floor. And let's just take a couple of breaths. And let's just make an intention. Right now, let's all of us, in our lives, at home, at work, at play, just to surrender to love. Just say inside of yourself right now, the only thing I ever have to surrender to is love. And just surrender to love. I surrender to be love. I surrender to allow love. I surrender to just let love flow through me to you and all of creation. All of us on this spiritual journey have awakened that there's more than what we see with our physical eyes. We've tapped into a deeper realm and discovered there's so much more. And we've awakened to a deeper reality that's going on. And we realize that we live in a synchronistic realm. And love is the driving energy of it all. So just see it. Pick a color, whatever color you want. And just allow that color to just well up in your heart space. Feel the warmth of that color. See it well in your mind's eye. That when you are maybe out of sorts, maybe somebody's talking against you or doing something, you can go back to that heart space and say, I'm going to allow love to work for me. And see that heart of color right now that you've created. You're the creator. And you're the one that can do it. Just feel that. And know that you are part of love. And you can open your eyes whenever you're ready. And that love is the energy we're here to transmit to each other, to the world. You know, we say many times, what am I here to do? You know, I'm going to be a great speaker and speak to millions of people. Okay, that's a great thing to do. But how much do you love? You know, it says back there, you can be a great speaker. You can have all the knowledge. You can do all of those things. Know the mysteries. But if you don't have love, it's like tingling a bell. It means nothing. Nothing. The greatest of all is how you love. How you love the people in this room, no matter who they are. Who you love, the people at the grocery store, the people that you work with, people that you come in contact with. Love is everything. Today, in this moment of evolution, love is not an option for us. It's no longer an option. It's the only way for us. You know, we want to be the change, and we talk about all these things we can do, and we go to all these classes, and we want to be healers, and we want to do all these wonderful things. But the greatest of all of that is to be able to love, moment by moment. It's the transmission of God consciousness that uplifts and transforms others around us. And it's the force that transforms our planet. So when we surrender to love, we allow everything in our presence to matter. Everything in our presence to be welcome, to be heard. And just by getting the respect it didn't get in the past, it fulfills its mission and dissolves in the light of consciousness. So many times, have you ever, like some of the people that come into here, some we give no attention at all sometimes because we don't feel like they're worthy of our love. Or maybe they have an odor or something. But you know, those are the ones that have the most transformational power for your life.
Yeah.
The ones that you don't think matter. Those are the ones, when you touch them with your love, that love comes back to you. I told you the story of James last week. When he missed a Sunday, or he came a Sunday, and then during the week, here he comes. And he said, you know, I didn't have any money on Sunday, and I want to give you this money. He must have just gotten his check. James lives on the street. And he brought us $30. I almost wept. But that's because he felt the love from us. He knew we loved him in here. He came in last week and Nathan was entertaining him. But I get more from James than James gets from me. You know, it's that stretching of our love. We have it, like I said, we don't have an option anymore. Love is our way. No matter how afraid, shut down, lost, victimized, or needy you feel, there's an aspect begging to matter and to be loved more within you. And that's the thing too. The things that you maybe don't think are so perfect in your life, those are the things that are being begged to love by you, to be loved. Because when we begin to love those parts of ourselves, they begin to heal. And it's when we can choose love at a time when we're feeling these frustrations or loneliness or whatever, that we awaken to humility and inspiration and the perfection of our higher self and form, that we can participate in the restoring of the things that are really bringing an end to suffering. It's at the lowest parts of our lives when we can begin to participate in love, that we begin to bring suffering, the healing of suffering to the planet. It's not all the time when we're in these high places, but sometimes when we can do that, and we can participate in restoring the things that bring into suffering and victimhood, and allow reality to transform us. And that's what we're all here to do, is transform. Just by taking the time throughout the day to love ourselves more instead of less, no matter how you're feeling. How about sometimes you love yourself a lot when you're really doing good? You know, if you've done something really good for somebody, you push a card or open a door for somebody, or you do something, you know, whatever it is. Oh, boy, you're feeling really good. How about when you're not really feeling good about yourself? Isn't that the time really you need to love yourself even more? You need to love yourself even more, because love is the healing balm that's changing everything in our world. By just taking the time throughout the day to love ourselves instead of less, no matter what we're feeling, awakens the kingdom within us and it begins to heal our wounds, to rectify our worries, to resolve all misunderstandings, clear all karma, undo all wrong perceptions as failures, and the eternal love force we are. It just begins to awaken us and into the one cosmic heart of love beating within all bodies. What if we thought of it that way? What if we didn't see our hearts all different in here, but we knew that we had one cosmic heart? James has one cosmic heart. The people on the street out there all have one cosmic heart beating to the rhythm of the universe of oneness. What if we saw it like that? And we know those people heart beat just as our heart beat. And we begin to not see that separation so much anymore. Love is our eternal connection to all that is, that's willing to undo whatever, endure whatever we feel, with only compassion, offering in response. And can we do that from others? Love is that willingness to endure whatever you feel. I don't know about you, but I've gone through some fear, guilt, all kinds of things have come up in my life. But there's a love that no matter how I feel, offers compassion back to me. It's that eternal love. It says nothing separates us from that love. Nothing. Can we do that for others when they're in their lowest points? Can we really step in and love when maybe they're not behaving themselves, doing the things we think they should do, acting the way we think they should do? We get it because that eternal love gives us that compassion and offers that in response. When we choose love, it means surrender has occurred in our lives. When you say, no matter what's happening, somebody's speaking against you, somebody's done something to hurt your feelings, somebody has maybe abandoned you or not showed up or whatever it is. When you choose love, you surrender to love. Our free will is what gets us a lot of choices because there's only, and it gets us in a lot of trouble too because we think there's lots of options, don't we? Because we have this free choice. But there's only one thing to surrender to, and that's the power of love. Einstein said, light is love, and out of love came all existence. So in reality, when we look at it that way, there are no choices. There's only love. There's only love. We're just in that illusion that we have all these choices. But we're coming into a period of time soon that all those illusions are being wiped away, and we're going to know that there's only love. We are here within these bodies for one purpose, to begin surrendering to love in every moment. To have love as our focus. When someone makes us mad, hurts us, lets us down, speaks against us, creates drama in our lives, bless the one doing it, and bless the one who's feeling it. So not only bless the one who's maybe hurting you and causing the drama in your life, but bless yourself as you feel it. Loving yourself. You see, we're learning that it's always a two-way street there. So we're learning to do that. Sometimes that's hard, and I know that. And sometimes, I've told that story many times with Pam. I was mad at somebody one time, and it hurt one of my kids, and Pam said, write them this letter of gratitude. And I said, hell no, I'm not writing a letter of gratitude. I'm owed, and I'm not going to do it. And you know what? Sometimes we have to allow those shadows to come out. Sometimes I have those shadows and that darkness, and you got to let it to come out into the open so it can dissipate. And so after a couple of months, I could write the letter. I hug the lady now, I just sit with the lady now. But it takes time because we got to let those shadows come out sometimes. So sometimes we're just not ready at that moment. But if you continue to ask love to work on your behalf, it can get you ready. But sometimes you just have to have those times, that you didn't want to have. But as we just surrender to love, it opens the door for love to act on our behalf. And we think we have options, but in reality, to ascend, our only action is love. And how many people in this room do not want to ascend? How many people are you here just because you think it's a great thing to come on Sunday morning? Or you're on a spiritual path where you want ascension. You want to be the healing of the world. You want to be that healing balm. You want to make a change in the world. Well, the only way we can do that, the only way, the only road to ascension is to choose love and surrender to love. We think we have options, but we don't. But sometimes when we don't, I said, we can't allow those shadows to come up sometimes and still love ourselves. Let me see where I am. Yeah. And if we can't love in that moment, just begin to love ourselves more. So one of the greatest distractions on our spiritual path is our free will, because we think we have all these options when in reality, the only option is love. Yeshua said a profound statement, and you've all heard it. Thy will be done. What does that mean to you? Thy will be done. It means there's no more options. Because if we do the will of the Spirit is always to love. So when he said, thy will be done, he said, my options are all over with. You know, maybe we've tried it our way. We've done it our way. But if I go and say, thy will be done, there's no more option. And love will get us there. It's the only thing that's going to get us there. We're here to choose love because love chose us first. Listen to that. You're here to choose love because love first chose you. You wouldn't be on this planet if love didn't choose you, because you came out of love. Einstein said everything came out of the existence of love. So it first chose you first. And when we choose love, it creates an alchemical reaction within our body. And we begin to transform from a carbon-based body into a more crystalline body. And it changes us. Do you remember, Kim? Yeah. I was thinking on the trip when Nana said, Nana was sitting on, I don't know why this came into my mind. Nana's sitting, we're in the forest, and we were all meditating, and there's this thing that almost looks like a Roman change lamp, and she's sitting on it. And what did she say, Kim? She said, I'm turning back into crystal, bitches. Oh, God. Oh, we just howled. I know you weren't, Kim. It was funny, though, but really, love is what was doing it. She was turning right back into crystal before our eyes. So anyway, this is what those who transform into the rainbow bodies taught us. That this is what Yeshua came to teach us in the Mount of Transfiguration when he turned back into light. It was love. God so loved. Yeshua so loved that they had the power to transform. This is the great shift we're here to experience. And every time we choose to surrender to love, from the center of our beingness and all the beingness of illumination go out through the beings and all dimensions of space and time. If you could see just energetically what happens to you when you choose love, that love, that illumination isn't just right here in this room, but it just begins to go out into time and space and all dimensions, changing everything. Every time you make a choice for love, it changes everything in the universe. And it sends that vibration of healing throughout the universe. And we have been given a sacred breath too as a tool which can bring us back into love. When we inhale consciously and say, I love you, it allows the breath to bring us back to love. And we begin to feel the energy of the natural state. So the key is when love is our only option, whatever is our wholeness is our only destiny. When love is our only option, healing and wholeness is our only destiny. And that's really the destiny of where we are. So have you ever thought about that holy breath when you begin to really breathe consciously and know that breath, that sacred breath, can bring you back to love? You know, the Heart Institute talks about breathing from the heart, dropping down into the heart. When you're in a situation that you get out of control, drop down into the heart and begin to breathe from your heart space. It changes you, changes the cellular complexion of your body, the molecular structure, changes everything. So, and we have entered a cosmic moment today when we're being asked to surrender to love. Love, now let's just close our eyes one more time as I end this today. Let's just close our eyes and use our breath right now. Let's just exhale everything out. And as you inhale, say, I love you. Real love is a force that pours out of you. So let's just exhale And then as you inhale, say, I love you. And just exhale. And as you inhale, say, I love you. Just exhale. And as you inhale, say, I love you. Exhale. And as you inhale, say, I love you. Just do that for a few more minutes. Exhale, inhale, say, I love you. You're filling yourself up with that love. Exhale. Just inhale, say, I love you. Just exhale. Inhale and say, I love you. And just sit for a moment with that energy of love. Just feel it. Feel how it makes you feel to have that love within you. And then I want you to open your eyes and I want you to go to 2 or 3 people and say, I love you. Get up. Do it.
That's a nice outfit. I love you.
I love you.
I love you. That's my dad's name. If you break, I love you.
I